Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Legs, and I would greatly appreciate if you want to support me or support the channel if you would consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. In addition to that, I do have a channel membership for just $1 a month if you want to go that extra mile and support the content and support the channel just a little bit more. Everything counts, and I greatly appreciate and want to thank my members. And of course, I want to thank the rest of you guys as well. You guys have really made this YouTube journey amazing. So today we are going to be talking about the Never Ever Mets season 2 episode 5, and I am not gonna lie, I cannot believe I made it this far in this show this season. Because if you know last season, you know last season. So I'm really happy that I made it this far, and I do think that this show is substantially more entertaining this season. I think they have made some editing changes that make this show way more watchable. So let's jump into it. Okay? Because once again, all the couples need to come down to the front of the room, and we even have some couples that finally made some choices that make a little bit of sense. So let's jump on into it. So we start off with Charlie FaceTiming her mom, and it is very clear that her mom has the baby.
Okay. Well, she's doing good. She'll be fine.
All right. Oh, I appreciate you, Mom.
Think so?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so as well. With Charlie, we vibe very well, and I'm seeing that the more time goes on.
So we learn that Charlie, she misses her babies more than anything. She really is crying on the phone. She's thanking her mom for watching the baby. She's saying hi to the baby. But she lets us know that what she has with Jared is really special, and that is the reason why she's here. And I'm like, girl, I just don't get it. You have a newborn baby, but it is more of a priority to be here chasing some pickle than it is to be with your newborn baby. Can't say that I get the decision making. I would understand maybe if your child was a little older. Okay, maybe. I still think that that's a questionable decision. But the fact that you have a legitimate newborn that is a month or two old and you're here, I don't really get it. Now, Charlie does go to Jared afterwards and let him know that she's a little bit homesick. And he's like, hey, if you want to leave, it's okay. I was like, girl, you should notice how quickly this man said, if you want to leave, I got it. I'm good. No worries about that. Charlie's like, no. I want to be here. What we have is special. What we have means a lot to me. It's a mess. Jared is not feeling Charlie whatsoever. And this is crazy. So we get kind of a surveillance cam footage of Irvin talking with Jay.
I even had like a full-on kiss. You feel me? She has this ability to deflect and gaslight a person. Like, I've never met a person like that before.
And he's telling her that he feels that Alicia weaponizes her health against him, that she's manipulative. You could definitely tell that Irvin is starting to feel fed up. Meanwhile, Alicia does come into the kitchen and Brandon does apologize for what happened yesterday. He says that he did not mean to get that loud and he really didn't want to come at her. So they hug it out, it was just very interesting because these two went from doing yoga to fighting. It's just entirely too much. But finally, Alicia and Irvin, they have the conversation outside.
I'll keep it classy.
I just don't want to do this anymore because we don't mesh. I'm tired. There's no good. You never had developed those feelings, right? So it's weird to me. I just need to let it all out and like let her know you're just not the one. I don't care for her feelings.
Great.
Let me finish. She's the type of person that has that emotional intelligence that I could connect with.
That's great. I love it for you.
It looks like you're trying to...
And Irvin just cuts straight to the chase. He's like, look, I don't really want to do this anymore. I don't think we're going to have a connection. I don't want to continue going around and around in circles. And of course, Alicia agrees. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you. Finally, a good decision on this show. Let's be so for real. Alicia, you are not feeling that man, okay? You are not feeling that man. And nothing was going to change the fact that you were not feeling that man. So there was no need to continue. I don't necessarily love the fact that it had to be Irvin to be the one that ended it, because I do think that a lot of the lack of feeling was on Alicia, or was it? Stay tuned. Keep listening. So Irvin has said he decides that he needs to get some things out. And he even lets us know in the confessional that he really wanted to get these things out, get a reaction from Alicia. He says he does not appreciate how Alicia made him look like a monster, made him look like he was this ruthless guy, how she tried to pretend that he made her feel unsafe, and all of these different things. He gets into how she was weaponizing her health. And Alicia's like, well, I never intended to do that. I'm so sorry. Irvin continues to go on and on and on. He says he feels like he can't do anything right. He feels like no matter what he does, there's a problem. So then he reveals that his ex-girlfriend actually called him a week before he got on the show, and that was a sign from God for him. That should have been a sign from God in the first place. Alicia's like, okay. And I was like, Irvin, stop it. Stop it. Because you are talking yourself into being the victim. Let it ride. You already said your piece. You don't want to be with Alicia. We all understand and agree why. But Irvin, these past couple of weeks, has continuously talked himself into being a victim. Irvin, you are no catch either. Sorry, you are no catch either. He talks about how his ex-girlfriend called him and said that she never met anybody who understood her the way that he did, and that she wanted to reconcile. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, then why are you here? Because also, Irvin, you're talking yourself into an even bigger hole. Because why are you here? Why are you here then? If you and your girlfriend, your ex-girlfriend, have connected again, why in the world are you here? He says, hey, look, I think that you could be a good friend, but I don't want to be your friend. And I'm like, Irvin, stop. You're being petty. And again, you are not a catch. You are not what you think you are either. Sorry. Maybe if you kept your mouth shut, you would have looked a lot better. But in reality, all of this that you're doing looks terrible. And then trying to throw out that you are talking to your ex-girlfriend, you just look terrible, Irvin. It makes no sense. So Irvin goes to tell the rest of the group inside that he can't do this anymore. He's about to leave.
Her energy is so toxic.
I called it. I knew that wasn't gonna work.
Neither of them look happy. Not even a little bit.
So, bye.
And that's fine, because right before I came here, I got a call from somebody that I'm like, yo, why the are you calling me? Like, no, she didn't call me. She ended up liking a picture and just got engaged and stuff. I took that as like God is telling me something.
He does reveal that he's never gonna date a diva type again. You know, the toxic energy is too much for him. And I'm not gonna lie, everyone in that house was looking at him like, okay, Irvin. He does reveal that his ex-girlfriend reached out to him, and a lot of the guys start to clock, particularly Jared and Cinco. They start to clock that the timeline ain't really adding up. And they think he's acting like a crybaby, and they actually go out and laugh. Jared and Cinco, they leave the room and they start laughing, talk about he is acting like a crybaby. What in the world is going on? So the men are not feeling Irvin. Brandon was not feeling it either. A lot of the men weren't feeling it. Alicia does come into the kitchen and she just says, hey, look, this isn't gonna work. I think for me, I need to leave, as Irvin is talking. And luckily they don't start to fight again. They start to fight a little bit, but Irvin is like, of course, as soon as I'm talking, she has to come in and cut everything off. And I'm like, y'all two just leave. Just leave. Good riddance. Like I said, Irvin, it's given hurt. And I'm not even saying that you're wrong for that, but if you're decision when you get hurt is to get petty like this, I don't know what to tell you, because this is just not it. It's not a good look whatsoever. He says in the confessional that he hopes that him and his ex-girlfriend will be able to reconnect. And again, I have some questions about that timeline. I really do. Just as some of the other people in the house got a question, I got a question too. Alicia says for her, she's not going to online date for a long time, and that instead she's going to feel people's energy in person. And Alicia, you absolutely need to do that. It is very clear that this is not the process for you. It's very clear that you need to connect with someone in person and take it slow and have that opportunity to move at a really slow pace. And I don't think that this whirlwind world of online dating somebody and then meeting them and then being expected to move at a certain pace is it. So good riddance for these two leaving. Can't say I'm upset about it at all. I think I was hoping it was going to be 2 episodes ago, but you know what? Better now than never. See y'all never. So after the talk, Britney and Jared, they are talking. They're talking about who could potentially leave next, and they mention Kiki and Brandon, or even potentially Ty and herself leaving. Britney does talk about how she feels like on FaceTime, she and Ty, they would be so googly-eyed at each other. There is definitely the physical chemistry there, but at this point, she's realizing, does he just want to sleep with her? Is it actually something that is sustainable? And again, Mr. Showboat Ty, I feel like he is doing kind of a lot. So we're gonna see how that goes. Now, they go on to this group activity, and there's this improv comedian that comes, and they have to do a variety of activities to try to show that they trust one another.
Walk all the way to the edge. Walk to the edge.
I think Alicia and Irv, it was good for their energy to get out.
Good. All right.
Alexis didn't go.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Come on, Alexis. I got trust issues.
In the activity, they have to do this one thing where they walk back and forth, but they have to walk to their partner at the end and then turn around, and their partner has to guide them back the other direction. Now, Brandon goes first. He does feel that Alicia and Irvin leaving is a really, really good thing in the house because their energy was definitely rubbing off on everyone else. I could definitely say I would agree with that too. But y'all two's energy is also bad, Brandon. You and Kiki also have bad energy, so don't start with me. Now, Alexis says that she has trust issues. And of course, Chris hears that and says, see, that's a good arrows Alexis again. Talking about that she has trust issues. It makes me feel some type of way, okay? She doesn't even want to try this new activity. And I'm like, y'all two need to be the next to leave. Y'all two cannot tell me that y'all have a relationship and that you guys like whatever you got going on here. Chris, you do not like Alexis. And then 3 couples end up having to do an improv comedian thing. I don't know, y'all. I don't like comedy, stand-up comedy. It's not for me. So whatever. They do this activity and it's supposed to show if they can work together or not. But in the car, Brandon and Kiki are in the car. Now, he is asking Kiki, do you feel like this improv actually brought us closer?
Do you think the improv brought us closer?
That was really fun.
I think it was fun.
That showed a level of trust I have in you, because you could.
But do you trust me?
Yeah. Don't know what I do wish. I was really a little more affectionate.
I don't come from a very...
For Kiki, you know, she is still definitely a bit guarded. And again, we learn in this confessional, as we already know, that because she's hiding this secret about her and her ex, and the fact that there was a lot of overlap between she and Brandon talking, she and the ex talking, the fact that she lived with her ex and potentially still does live with her ex is a little bit unclear. She is putting a wall up and she feels like she cannot fully be herself. Now, Brandon does admit that he would like Kiki to be a little bit more affectionate, but Kiki talks about how for her, she felt a lot of pressure from Brandon to go first, to get up in front of the class and go first, and how she felt like he was moving a little too fast with everything during the activity. I think that was just an allegory for how she feels like he's moving too fast in general, but in reality, she admits the reality that it's her that is the liar. So Kiki, I'm gonna need you to, I'm gonna need you to do it. Now, Brandon does admit in his confessional that he is wondering, based off Kiki's behavior, if she even likes him. So he's definitely starting to have those questions in his head and realize that something weird is going on. So when they get home, Kiki and Brandon have another conversation on the balcony.
That's real cute.
And guess what?
But I'm saying, hear me out. That was kind of overwhelming me. And I had to try to step back and be like, okay, you're fine. Do you get what I'm saying?
Give me a hand. I'm gonna end this convo like this. Well, guess what? All right, look.
And Brandon's like, what is going on? What is happening? Like, it's very clear that something is off. Kiki does explain again that she felt like going first was too much. And then Brandon goes in to try to kiss her and Kiki pushes away. And I'm like, ooh, this ain't it. Brandon's like, you know what? I'm gonna leave because this is very clear that there is something going on here. You won't even let me kiss you. And again, Kiki, you need to tell the truth. You need to tell the truth. I am so tired of these people waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting just to try to rope someone in. It's not working, especially in your case, Kiki, because you're turning Brandon away. So what makes you think when you admit that you live with your ex or that you lived with your ex and that there was overlap that he's going to be like, okay, baby. Anyway, time to go to dinner. So Cinco presents a game where they have to ask a question and answer with the name of a couple.
Y'all don't pay attention. Come on now. Brandon and Kiki.
Finding out that people think that we're the least compatible, I don't blame them.
My ex-fiance ended up in my house pregnant.
Clay's keeping the secret from her. Everyone in the house is slowly learning the secret, but we have to keep it from Tati.
So the first question is, which couple do you think will make it to the end? And they say Jay and Cinco. Of course, this is probably the one couple where there's something actually here, where they don't have a load of secrets that they need to tell each other. Is that true? I don't know. Maybe they do have secrets and it hasn't been revealed yet. Now, which couple is in need of the intimacy suite? They say Chris and Alexis. And I was like, really? Really? Y'all feel that way? Because I don't see that between those two at all. Which couple is the least compatible? They say Kiki and Brandon. Right now, he does feel like Brandon admits in the confessional that at this point, it is a no for him. He says there's still a possibility. He doesn't want to give up on Kiki, but where they are right now, it's just not a yes to leaving with her at this activity. Or after this retreat, I should say. So Kiki and Brandon also get the couple that's the most dramatic right now. So it's very clear that the house is starting to realize that Kiki and Brandon are not getting along. And Kiki herself even says in the confessional, yeah, we've been fighting for the past 2 days. So it's pretty obvious that most people would feel that as well. Now, Tatiana and Clay get the couple that has the most secrets. In the confessional, Charlie says, Tatiana is keeping, or Clay is keeping a kid from Tatiana. And the whole house is slowly finding out. And Tatiana's the only one that doesn't know. And I'm like, I know you are lying that this little secret is getting around. All the couples are having their little pillow talk. And Tatiana is the only person that doesn't know. I was like, I would be so livid and embarrassed if that was the case. Oh, I don't like Clay. I don't like Clay because that is so foul for this whole house to know. And everyone's sitting at the table smiling, laughing, Kiki in Tatiana's face. And Tatiana is even like, I don't know why they say that. Is there something else I don't know? Ooh, child. But anyway, after dinner, Brandon and Kiki have yet another conversation. So for Brandon, he says, look, I really want to start fresh. I know that everybody in here is tired of what we got going on, and I am tired of fighting back and forth again. Kiki says, yes, we've been in a funk. I know that we haven't been in the best place, but I would also like to get there. Now, she does notice his efforts to try to make her happy and to try to make her feel comfortable, because Brandon does bring up that all he's tried to do is make her happy, and all he's tried to do is make this work. So they do hug it out. However, Kiki still does not reveal that secret. Now, Ty and Britney. Ty does apologize for his tone during the group activity. He feels, though, that when he's cooking, it is not enough for Britney.
That I took with you, it just seems like when I do cook or when I do something, it's not enough for you. You want it. If I'm doing something for you, I expect my partner to do something for me as well. And what I've been seeing more so is,
Or is it the circumstances that we're in?
we both have things we need to work on. It's not just Ty, you gotta work on this.
So for Britney, she's like, I am confused. Are you only apologizing for raising your voice and for your tone, or what? Ty's like, look, I'm not apologizing for not getting you a drink when you asked me to get you a drink, because I was clearly in the middle of something and you could do it. So of course, Britney launches into this whole thing about how Ty said he was going to be a gentleman and how he was going to serve her and how he was going to do all of these different things. He was going to be an alpha male, and that kind of stuff doesn't happen. Ty says, well, I feel like you want me to wait on you hand and foot, and that's just not the way that it is. Britney says, well, I feel like I am at the bottom of your priority list. It's not that I want you to wait on me hand and foot. I feel like I'm not even there in the first place. They go back and forth and back and forth. He does try to apologize yet again. And he says that he feels like he was the first to apologize, and yet she takes no accountability. So Ty claims, look, I want a partner, okay? I want somebody that I can work with. I don't want to feel like I'm doing all of these things for you while you're just laying back, basically. And Britney's like, but you want to be the class clown. It's very clear that you want to be the class clown. You want everyone to laugh at you. You want all of this stuff. They do not come to a consensus whatsoever. And here's my problem with things. I don't think in isolation that Ty's points are necessarily wrong. I think there's a couple of things that are wrong with Ty. Number one, Ty's tone. I think when Ty speaks, his tone really deflects away from what he is trying to say, even if he has a point. There has been multiple times on the show where we've seen Ty present a point that makes sense, but because of his tone, I think oftentimes people don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear a man getting loud in your face and doing all these hand movements and flying off at the mouth and cussing. Nobody really wants to hear that. Number two, Ty, you did tell this lady on video chat that you were going to do these things for her. We saw the clip rolled back. If you knew that's not what it was, then you shouldn't have said it. And that to me does kind of lead and give validity to Britney's point that he is this showboaty guy who's going to make all these lofty promises, but in execution, he doesn't actually do those things. And that's why I kind of have to see both points of view. Because again, I'm sure we've all experienced that one guy that told us he was going to give us the world and he didn't give us anything. And so I think that maybe for Britney, this personality of the performative guy that does all these big gestures for everyone else, but doesn't necessarily do the same gestures for her, it's just not her feeling. That being said, like, it is possible that maybe Britney does not say thank you enough, or Britney does not acknowledge the things that Ty does do. And for him, he doesn't feel like it's being noticed. And I think regardless of if your partner caters to you and they're this quote unquote alpha male and they want to do everything for you, you should still be thanking them and you should still be appreciating the things that they do. So this, I think, is a both-sided issue. I think they need to continue to talk this out. So Ty's brother Smooth joins, and then Britney's mom also comes as well.
You doing that for them?
No,
you're doing it for all of them?
I don't.
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
You're cooking and you're asking them, are they happy with this? Are they?
Okay.
So Britney has known Smooth for 15 years. I guess they met through Smooth, if I recall correctly. So Britney once again is expressing to her mom that she feels that Ty is focused on everyone else but himself. Now, her mom does encourage her to continue to try with Ty. She says, hey, have more conversations, have more patience. Yes, it may be true that that's the case, but it may not be worth giving it up all at once. Now for Ty, he's telling his brother that he feels that Britney says that he has to basically make her the only priority in everything, when in reality, he feels that he's already making her a priority, essentially. He feels that she feels that he needs to get his priorities together. And his brother is like, look, instead of flying off at the mouth like you did in the last situation, why not pull her aside and try to just have a conversation with her? I think both family members gave pretty decent advice, especially if they want to continue to pursue this. So they sit down to talk. Ty says that he feels like he has not given Britney all of his attention because he feels this pressure to have to outdo what he did every single day. Britney chimes in and says, but you do that for these people. And her mom actually chimes in and is like, Britney, you need to have a little bit more patience, okay? I understand that you want this, but have a little more patience. And Britney says, once again, I feel like I am not at the top of his priorities. I think it was interesting that Ty said that because I do kind of get where he's coming from. Do I get where he's coming from? I get where Ty is coming from, where he says, like, okay, if I do this, the next day it's going to be this. The next day it's going to be this. The next day it's going to be this. Well, Ty, we're talking about very little stuff. We're talking about making a breakfast. I just feel like if you're acting like making breakfast is a ceiling for you, then maybe you and Britney are not compatible, right? Because I do think Britney, yes, is clearly a woman who likes to be wined and dined and pampered by her man. And I think if for you, making her breakfast in the morning or fixing her a drink is that ceiling where you feel like you can't outdo, you can't outdo yourself more, maybe it's not compatible. Okay, I'll believe that there. So at the end of the day, Ty's brother and Brittany's mom are both like, do you guys want to keep trying at this? And they both agree that they would like to continue to keep trying. So once again, they hug it out and they agree to keep trying and keep trying to see where the other person is at. So we come back to Ty giving Britney a foot massage. He says that he wants to give her this massage to show her that he really does love her. He really does care about her. He knows that Britney loves physical touch and just being pampered. And they play this question game. So the question is, what is something that you have that I may not understand, basically? And Britney talks about the relationship with her son. She has a 3-year-old son. And so for Ty, he may not understand how deep that relationship is, but for Britney, she's never really loved anybody more than she has loved her son. So meanwhile, Kiki and Brandon are outside and they are basically avoiding this conversation about the relationship yet again.
Where you going? I'm finna sit down. Why would you ask me if I'm still in love with my ex?
They kind of have the same roundabout conversation, but ultimately, again, Kiki is here and she's not saying what is happening. And we essentially end the episode. The producer, because there is a confessional, the producer asks her, are you still in love with your ex? Because they basically get into how everything's not going to be rainbows and sunshine, and that sometimes there's going to be tough times. And then the producer asks her, so are you still in love with your ex? And Kiki's like, why would you ask me that? Why would you ask me if I'm still in love with my ex? I'm like, girl, oh my God, Kiki, get out of here. Get, Kiki, you're starting to irritate me. But that is how we end the episode. So if you made it to this point of the video, that means you liked the video. So I would greatly appreciate it if you would support the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. Once again, channel membership right down here. Hit that join button if you would like to support the channel just a little bit more. And I will talk to you guys in my next one. Bye.